What is up, everyone? Happy Tuesday night. You are watching Off Centered with myself and Dustin, and tonight we have a very special guest. You know him as Card Collector 2. I know him as Ryan because I actually met him in person back at the Industry Summit, and he is one extremely busy guy. Obviously, you know, he owns a card shop in Ohio. He's all over social media. His brand, as well as his card shop, is blowing up right now. And we are going to ask him about all of that coming up soon. So, with that being said, welcome back. Now let's get to work. Let's bring on the less special guest, even though he's special in a different way. Dustin.
What's up, man?
Hey, man?
How are you? I'm riding high off of that Saints victory over the Seahawks last night.
It wasn't a Saints victory. You just didn't lose. Like victory's a too flattering of a term.
We have 0 receivers on the team. Literally 0. I mean, Jameis is throwing lasers 50 yards down the field and guys can't catch the ball.
He was not throwing very good balls. I saw some that were not thrown very well.
You saw it was raining, right?
I mean, yeah, but you know, other quarterbacks can throw in the rain. Good to see Neo. We got Loco Card Collector in the house. David Hunter, thanks so much every week for help on my newsletter. And by help, I mean just doing the whole thing, and then I just do a little formatting.
Bless
Scott
you, David.
Cowan, good to see you as well. And then, yeah, AJ Rose, we started, man. South Stands 303, Mike C, good to see you as well. Brian Sherland is in the house. Card Guy 72, we are doing great. Hope you are as well. Michael Ham, go Bucks. That's right. Your Saints could squeak by a Russell Wilson-less Seahawk team, but the Bucks are looking good.
Well, we'll see. They play on Sunday, Halloween. It's Bucks week. Can't wait.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be good. Good to see Daddy Waffles. All right, Talatuga.
Daddy Waffles, that just gets me every time. It just puts a smile on my face. It's hilarious.
Talatuga's in the house. All right, let's bring on our guest in a second. Yeah, this is going to be a good show, man, because you have a lot of questions. You've actually never interacted with Ryan before, so this is going to be the first time really talking to him. I didn't meet him until Industry Summit, a month and a half ago, and not only did we, I thought we were going to have like a 15, 20-minute talk, and then it just kind of lingered from sports cards to business and life and everything else for literally an hour and a half. So it was definitely one of the best conversations I've had since being in the hobby. He's a very insightful guy outside of cards as well. So I'm really excited for that. And with that being said, let's bring him on. And Ryan, dude, you have the best hair of all three of us.
I don't know about that.
For being as busy as you are, you really took a lot of time to make sure your hair was on point. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a part of the day.
Very cool, man. So how's everything going in your world, first of all?
Good. Some days in shop right now are a little busy. Some days right now are a little slow. So just trying to be as productive as we can. There's some busy times coming up. End of the year, right? You're going to get into the holidays, Black Friday, Christmas, that kind of stuff's coming up. So just trying to use the time we've got now to kind of prepare for the end of Q4 and hopefully end the year strong.
Right on, man. So for people that aren't as familiar with you, you obviously own a card shop. You have a huge social media brand around you and your shop. How did this all begin?
Yeah, it really started in like 2013, end of 2013 when I got on Instagram. So like my whole life really since like 06, I was 13, got on like Sports Card Forum, Beckett Forum, Blowout Card Forums, right? Like the online card trader. And in late 2013, Photo Bucket wanted to start charging money for people to post pictures. And right, I'm just a young kid hustling. I'm like, I don't want to spend money a month to host pictures. Like Instagram was new.
How old were you back then?
So 2013, I would have been what?
8 years
20?
ago. 20? Okay.
Yeah. So I'd have been 20. Just turning 21. And because it's right around the time my wife and I met. And got on Instagram. And because it was like Instagram was like real early at the time. That's what like everybody was getting on. And was never real big about posting pictures of myself, but I was like, hey, if I could post pictures of cards and post these and then use the link to my Instagram account on Blowout forums, I wouldn't have to pay any money and it would be just a place I could store all my pictures. So started on there, and then just over time, just posted more. And as I went on and got more followers and the page grew, it became a lot more about like my life and kind of my journey in cards. Got engaged to my wife on there, graduated college with Reg. We both graduated at the same time.
Wait, you proposed on blowout forums?
No, I just shared a lot of my like life events on Instagram, right?
Okay.
So like as my Instagram page was, growing, I just became more personable on there and just started sharing more about my life, right? So engagement, wedding, graduation, just different things like that throughout life. So, next thing I know, it just got bigger and bigger and bigger, and then it really took off like a lot of things did when COVID happened, right? I mean, we were sitting probably 25,000 followers beginning of last year.
Which is still a lot. 25K pre-COVID was a big number.
Yeah, it was definitely crazy. It was it's crazy to even think about that it's even anywhere near that now. But yeah, COVID definitely boosted it.
Were you always into cards, or was this something that like you just started always? So since what age?
So I got I've told this story before, but like back in like 03, Donnie Nicky, like one of the true players I collect, graduated from Ohio State, won a national championship, and was in a couple Sage products. So he had rookie cards. I was in sixth grade at the time, fourth grade, young, and his mom was my art teacher, so I was able to like collect his cards. But I really got into it when I got a cell phone in 2006. I was 13. Like AJ Hawk, Reggie Bush, Matt Leinart, Vince Young. I remember going and ripping packs of like Press Pass and Tops. Like that was kind of my jam back then. So 06 is when I really that was really what I say is when it started. Because then it was just all uphill from there.
I remember playing with AJ Hawk on Madden, and I thought he was going to be like the next Brian Urlacher. Because he had the long hair. He was a great linebacker, but I don't know what happened. If it was injuries or he was just like mediocre, but he just never was as good as I thought he was going to be. But I remember AJ Hawk. And then it's funny because like while you were collecting cards then, which I wish I would have gotten into, I was just playing with these players on Madden. And that was probably one of my last years, was like 07, 08, 09 before I just kind of realized, all right, I'm not going to drop $60 every year on this, because I'm always disappointed that it's like one small little upgrade, and I'm like, well, all I'm paying for really is just a roster update.
Yeah, sure.
Point.
It's funny how much it's felt like cards were expensive back then, and then you look at it now and it's like, man, they really were not expensive.
Yeah, it's we talk about that a lot now, especially with like modern day quarterbacks, right? Like when you buy, shout out to Reese, it's just different now. Like you want to go buy a Justin Herbert or a Jalen Hurts or a Joe Burrow. I was buying Derek Carr autos for $20 back when that was what they cost, like 20, 40, 50, 100. That's not to say that they weren't expensive, but like $300 was expensive. Now at this point, it's like $300 doesn't get you much with Burrow or Herbert. Like you're getting like Leaf autos if you're lucky. Just crazy how far we've come.
Now, I know you're a big Ohio State guy, but do you have a preference between Baker and Joe Burrow? Because they're like obviously they're division rivals. I don't think you don't have like a set pro team, right? I mean, you're kind of do you root for one or over the other?
Yeah, I mean, I root for the Patriots for sure.
The Patriots. That's right.
Yeah, not the
Patriots or Tom Brady. I mean,
Patriots. Tom Brady's a Michigan dude.
Oh, that's right. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, Patriots for sure.
So even in spite of Tom Brady being from Michigan, you still rooted for the Patriots.
Yep. I don't root against Brady now. People always say he was developed at Michigan, but he was picked 199. So I always say you can't be developed at a school and be picked 199. That's not development. Brady was made in New England, so I feel good about that. But yeah, Ohio State's my team. If I got to root for a person, I would definitely root for Burrow. I thought the Browns would be better this year, but Bengals definitely look good.
I have a question. Like, you have a lot of volume, you have a lot of sales, a lot of cards in and out, and a lot of people and traffic. What kind of trends or things are you noticing? Maybe it's just like, what are people talking about a lot of, or lots of cards are selling of this player or this sport or this set, something that we might not understand or know of unless you see that level of volume and dialogue like the way you do.
I think the big thing that would surprise the most people is how many people are looking for the next like fringe sport. Like, I think it would surprise people that it's not people coming in and saying, "Hey, do you have Joe Burrow?" and "Hey, do you have Zion Williamson?" Like, that happens. But the people that come in and say, "Hey, do you have soccer? Hey, do you have F1? Hey, do you have UFC?" Like, those kind of conversations are real, and I think they happen more than people might anticipate they're happening.
Okay, so based on that, what fringe sport or even non-sport really interests you right now, and why? Like, because there's a reason for soccer, there's a reason for Formula One, there's a reason for UFC, but which ones is really grabbing your attention?
So I've started watching the F1. I've talked about this on Instagram. I've watched the F1 documentary. I started that. Love that. Definitely hooked on that. As a collector, I definitely think that's going to be fun to collect. From like more of an investment side of it, more of a financial potential gains in the next 12 years or the next 12 months.
12 years, like, man.
Yeah. Next 12 months.
Anything's good for the next years.
I'm super intrigued by soccer, right? The World Cup, I think, will bring a lot of attention to the sport, right? Most popular sport in the world. You look up some of the most followed Instagram accounts in the world. I think 7 of them are soccer players. Like, soccer is massive globally, and the World Cup next year will definitely bring a lot of attention to the sport. And there's also not as many soccer products, like, compared to how many baseball or basketball or football, right? We have a shop, we get allocation, I get products every week. Multiple products come out every single week at this point. I don't know the last time we got a soccer release. Merlin, Chrome Soccer, like, you're talking one soccer release every month on average, maybe. Like, there's just not that many. And you compare it to how many football products are there now? How many baseball products? There's a lot of that kind of stuff, and there's not nearly as many soccer products. So soccer definitely intrigues me, but really any of the fringe sports, soccer, UFC, F1, I'm intrigued by those 3 for sure.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned the F1 documentary, because last time I did the Off-Centered with Dustin, which was 2 weeks ago, I was actually away last week. I told him that there was someone that is here in LA that has a pretty big personal brand, they have a very successful business, and they're on one of those real estate reality shows where they're selling luxury homes here. And he noticed me. He recognized me from the YouTube channel because he's a big card collector himself. And I said, look, and we were talking about Formula One, and I'm like, look, I don't know. I have no interest.
Is that what really happened, Brad? Is that what really happened? You're like, hey, man, I know you. I know you.
Oh, my God. Sign my forehead. No, but he goes, you got to see the documentary on Netflix. It's phenomenal. And I was like, all right. I mean, a Formula One documentary, not really atop my list when there's a lot of good shows and a lot of good documentaries out there. But he said the amount of drama and just story involved behind the scenes is phenomenal. So I'm going to have to watch it now that I got a second recommendation from you.
Yeah, my wife really enjoys it, so it's something we'll try to watch like an episode or 2
Do you
every
remember
night.
the name of it?
What'd you say?
Do you remember the name?
Yeah, Drive to Survive.
Drive to Survive. Okay, cool. Have you seen it, Dustin?
No, I need to watch it too now. Now I feel like I'm way behind the times. Like, I keep hearing about it. I'm like, it's probably lame. And now I keep on hearing more about it. I'm like, all right, damn it, I'll watch it.
It's really well done.
Okay, so I mean, I've thought of soccer myself just because even though it doesn't really interest me, I think the big upside for sports cards, and maybe Fanatics gets to this, and I'm sure like they have plenty of time to lay the foundation down and get it going, is that there are so many people, even in this chat. I think AJ Rose is from Japan, other people from Australia. There are so many people that can only participate partly, or like 5%, 10% of what they would like, because it just doesn't make sense for them to pay all this for customs and shipping, and it gets lost. And the logistics are a nightmare outside of North America for the most part. And I keep thinking, yeah, soccer or baseball and basketball and football is great here, but when PSA and eBay and Fanatics and these big companies really have their footing overseas, what's going to take off? And that's where I think, well, basketball overseas, Europe, Asia, but soccer is the one where I go, man, Ronaldo has like 250 million followers on Instagram. I know Ronaldo without even watching soccer. I know Lionel Messi without even watching soccer. That would be like LeBron James being popular over in another country where they don't watch basketball.
Sure.
So, even though I don't really have an interest in soccer, that's what interests me. And then you have the World Cup every couple of years where at least, for that moment of time, the whole world turns to soccer, even if you're in a country that doesn't usually care about it as much.
Yep.
I think that's a good segue into the Fanatics stuff, Brad.
Okay, let's segue there.
Yeah, no, I wanted to, and Ryan, we kind of touched on it a little bit before we came on, but just the whole Fanatics news, and obviously we're years away from it, but just being that you have large card shop, you're doing a lot of volume. I'd like to kind of hear from a card shop owner. I'm just speculating with hobby content people, and I do transactions here and there, but nothing even close to what you guys are doing. What's your overall thoughts on Fanatics? Do you think that, it'll be a good partnership with you guys? Does it not even really matter, or is it just kind of a wait and see? I wanted to get your thoughts on it.
Yeah. I mean, I would be lying if I told you I don't think about it, right? Like when the news dropped, people are like, is Fanatics good or Fanatics bad, right? And I've talked a lot, like we're a decent sized shop and we've built up an allocation, so able to get product. And I like the people at Panini. I know quite a few of them, and I think Topps does a good job. So like, if someone's like, hey Ryan, is this good or bad for the hobby? Like, do you want to change this? And I'm like, I'm not the first person that would be signing up for it, right? I'm not running to sign up for this change, but 5 years is a long time, right? Like I always tell people, like, think about 5 years ago. Nobody was, sports cards weren't popular 5 years ago. We were, we were buying LeBron, an exquisite. I was at the show with Kentucky basketball cards, Jimmy, when he bought a Jordan exquisite patch auto for $2,000, right? That's a $50,000 card. Now the market changes so much in 5 years. So I'm just not trying to like lose sleep over something that I can't really do much about. I'm trying to position ourselves every day to build a successful card brand and, to continue to do things the right way. I'm still focused on that. And I think, the cards will fall exactly how they're supposed to, right? It'll work itself out one way or the other. If we've got to go back to buying and selling singles and still creating content, I still think that'll be a big part of our business. And I still think it would, I don't think it would be as exciting as it may be now with products and group breaks and things like that. But I also don't think that would be a smart decision personally to do direct to consumer. But yeah, we'll see. Fanatics didn't spend billions of dollars to, kill the card market, I don't believe. So I don't think, I know a lot of people say it's just going to be direct to consumer because I saw the interview with Ruben. But then Luber, I saw another interview with him when he was talking at the summit, seemed a little bit more optimistic about like going to card shops and things like that. So I think it'll be interesting to see, but just so long away. It's just really hard to speculate. There's a lot that's going to happen in the next 5 years before we're even close to this actual date.
I mean, it's funny because 5 years in a normal industry is a pretty decent amount of time. 5 years in sports cards based on the last 2 years. Like, I mean, I have no idea, like, if cards are going to be connected with NFTs and with tickets of sporting events. And I mean, I have no idea if PSA is going to be still number one or if they're going to merge with another company. And I don't know. I mean, like, the amount of change just from when Dustin and I got in around March I got in March 2020. You got in at like late 2019, Dustin, something like that?
No, early 2018.
Oh, okay. So a while, but you just didn't really do anything. That's where, you were just like lazy.
I should have bought a lot more. Let's say that. I should have bought a lot more.
Well, I mean, that's everyone's biggest regret. Should have gotten a lot more, should have bought a lot more and sold around March 2021. There is a good question here from Global Sports Investor out of Australia. He's finding it difficult to find reasonable priced wax with all the markups and nearly no retail products over there. Any advice or insight? I would tell you move to Los Angeles, move to California, and the prices are still going to be lousy. It's still not going to be easy to find wax, but you're still going to get the sun, and you'll be able to buy online at Ryan's store.
just change continents. No big deal.
Just move across the world, dude. Come on. Easy. Next. Any insight there?
Yeah, I mean, like, without being too blunt, it's like everybody in the world wants wax right now. It's probably the number one thing in sports cards people want, right? Is retail or hobby boxes. Like, it is our biggest seller. It's not even really close. So it's kind of hard to say reasonably priced wax now, because truthfully, wax has come down a lot from where it was at peak. Like, when the market was hot in March and April, like, I can tell you, Prism basketball, I have a case of 19 Prism basketball. It was nearly $50,000 a case. There were buy offers on that product at $45,000. Like, that case now I think is worth like $28,000. So wax has come down quite a bit, right? Mosaic baseball is currently like $125 a box. That's like MSRP on that product, right? So I just, the market, I don't believe, like, some things are high, but for the most part, like, I think there's still plenty of opportunity to buy things and rip things at a decent price. Personally, if it's, hey, do you want a box of Prism at the $140 or $200 at what it was supposed to be 2 years ago, those days are just over. And I don't mean that with any sort of like, hey, like, sorry, it's, it sucks, but it kind of is what it is. Like, I just don't see Prism basketball going back to $200 a box again. I just think that's kind of the way the market is now. Is the market ultimately sets the price. I don't think it's, me or Brad or Dustin saying, hey, that this product should be $500 or $5,000 and nobody else can get it any cheaper anymore. I just think the market's the one that decides it. So if the market says, hey, we're willing to pay $1,000 for Prism, that's just kind of what Prism's going to be. So I don't think it's more or less trying to find product at a reasonable price. eBay, eBay, you can have it. There's plenty of online dealers that sell it and ship overseas. Brad, you were going to say something?
Well, I was just going to say, maybe it's easier to buy in bulk to reduce the shipping cost.
Sure.
And I'd also wonder if, because the costs are higher, you'd be able to perhaps sell it locally for more and maybe offset some of the cost you're paying. Just if you're able to flip some of it, maybe, you pay more, but you sell off some and it evens out. But besides that, my thought is also, if you are a bigger investor and you want to drop like 20 grand, 50 grand, a good amount, which is funny because that's like literally 2 cards now. But if you want to drop like a good amount, maybe it's just worthwhile coming to the national or to one of these big card shows and making a trip out, assuming you're allowed in, and COVID, restrictions and whatever else. But this is one thing too. I would love to see a once per year international card show. And I'm like, there's no way it can't happen later than next year, because there's so much interest overseas. All you need to do is have one in a city in Europe where it's accessible to other countries. It's a better option than the US, but I would love to attend an international card show in Germany or in London or some city where at least now for the rest of the world, or at least the other side of the world, they have a better location for a really respectable card show that they could attend once a year and do the majority of their buying and selling. But hey, if you're out there and you want to put that together, I would definitely shout you out. That's pretty much all I'll do. And then I'll attend if it actually happens.
Now, and I see Global Sports Card Investor posted, and Brad, I never really thought about it like that, but I think that's actually a really intriguing idea. Like, especially if you have the capital, like, can you buy a case of something? Let's say you only want 1 box. Can you buy a case and then have, 11 additional boxes you could sell to other card collectors in your country, right? Mm-hmm. Especially if you're in Australia, can you buy a case, have that delivered, and then offset the cost? Because there's likely other people that are looking for that product in your area. And if you can't get it, they might not be able to get it. I never thought about it like that, but that's a very interesting strategy. I like that.
Do you think, I have a question, Ryan, for you. Do you think that, there's always going to be, or at least in the near future, there's going to be a shortage of wax because a lot of the fun that's had with breaking and kind of everything because I feel like that's just become, it's an extension of kind of the sports betting stuff that's going on. And there are just a lot of, there's a lot of money in the hobby. You've got the Mark Wahlbergs or the Kevin Durant's or whoever's buying $1,000 hobby boxes just for fun because they don't mind spending the money. But then you also just have, I feel like, so many different, you have huge breakers, but then you also have small time breakers. You just have people that like doing that, or just with their buddies, doing it. I mean, do you think that's a big part of kind of the shortage on the wax on that stuff, is just all the breaking that's going on, or is that what keeps the prices elevated?
Yeah, I mean, on certain things, like on certain, like, again, because to me in wax, like in the card market right now, there's really like two different like groups. There's the stuff everybody wants, and then there's the stuff that like anybody can get. So like Prism, Select, Optic, Mosaic, National Treasures, like for the most part, any and everybody wants those. So when those come out, those are harder to get. They're expensive. They dry up quicker. Their markup is higher on them. Like those are the products everybody wants. But especially lately, like it hasn't, like, again, and I see this a lot in my shop because maybe we have different opportunities. So I'm not as educated on like if everybody can get it as well. So I might be, this might be something I need some more insight on personally. But like Mosaic baseball, I go back to that, like Spectra baseball, like Topps Gold Label baseball. Like maybe it's a baseball thing, maybe it's a by sport thing. But like there's a like the good stuff, the Prisms, the Optics don't get offered that much at all. A lot of the other stuff, we get offered that kind of stuff almost every day, it seems like. So I think like a lot of the market has cooled down. There's still a lot of people breaking. But I think when the market cooled down a little bit, that slowed down some of the demand on wax. And I still see on Facebook, and I would be curious your guys' opinion. It still looks like from like Instagram and Twitter posts that I see that like a lot of like Targets and Walmarts are like having product on shelves anymore. Like I know Chronicles Draft Picks just came out, Bowman Chrome Megas, Topps Chrome Baseball, Pokemon Celebrations. It looks like that Walmarts and Targets are starting to get back to product on shelves. I don't know if that's because they raised prices or if people are back to work. I'm not sure what that is, but be curious your thoughts.
Yeah, I haven't been following the retail stuff as much, but that's interesting to hear. I'm glad to hear it. I haven't, and honestly, I just don't check. And I got so used to just not even looking when I go to a Target or a Walmart. Now I'm like, well, damn, maybe I should go and look next time I'm there, because usually I just don't.
I won't step foot in a Walmart. Period. I could feel the brain cells die off. So I'll go inside a Target, but no, I won't go into a Walmart. And here in LA, maybe the Walmarts are worse than normal cities. But regardless, the one thing is that I remember when I got in, and this was quarantine times, it was this huge flipping opportunity. It was like, hey, I don't have work, and I don't know how much government assistance I'm getting, but I can go there and flip boxes of cards. And I remember any box had a potential, and people were lining up, and it was crazy. And I think now it's a bit more balanced where people have jobs. They don't care as much. The markup on a lot of the boxes aren't as high. And Mosaic is funny because like Mosaic was that one set that got released right when quarantine started. And it was like the perfect timing for that set. And it went through the roof, and then it crashed probably harder than any other set I've seen. Because even now I'm looking at Mosaic cards, rookie cards, Zion, and all these players, and they're like worth nothing. And I have nothing against Mosaic. I actually think the parallels and the design is decent. It just went through the roof, and then no one seems to care. It seems like Prism, Select, Optic really just are ahead of it for that middle tier ranking of cards. And Mosaic's just like forgotten about. And maybe because it's a new product, it doesn't have the name that the others do from years and years of being in the hobby. But it was one of those things where I'm like, I'm not buying Mosaic at all unless it's just a small card for me to keep for myself. But I would not invest in it because I just don't even know if it's going to be popular enough to be out, in a year or two's time.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Ryan, I know we were talking about it, but I'm impressed just how you've set up kind of your social media empire. It's like you're a card shop, but you're also, you're doing it on a variety of platforms too, which that's something I've learned. I'm new to YouTube. 18 months ago, I started my channel. But I've noticed there's some people that have massive Instagram followings, and they have like tiny little followings on YouTube, or a huge YouTube, nothing on Instagram. You have you kind of have it all working, which is impressive because usually you just don't see that. How do you see that kind of evolving? You did the kind of like building the shop. That was a really cool series. is it going to be kind of like, a reality show? Are you going to have it set up with cameras all over the place all the time, or how do you see that kind of going?
Yeah, I don't know. No, in terms of like the reality show, I don't think that's in our future.
You could slap Dustin if it helps. It'll be good for the ratings.
Yeah, no, I haven't really thought too much about it. Like we talked about this earlier, but like with as crazy as like every day is, I don't really sit down and like plan too much on like what I want YouTube to look like a year from now or 2 years from now. In terms of like the content on all the platforms, that wasn't like really how it started. It was really just Instagram. But then I quickly realized like, just that was crazy.
Like, why are you down there? You got to be up here.
You just quickly realize, right? Like what, and I'll hit on a point here in a second, but like not every customer you're trying to reach uses Instagram, right? Like every customer isn't on Instagram. So like some of them are on Twitter that aren't on Instagram. Some of them are on YouTube, right? Some of them are on Facebook. Some of them are on TikTok, right? Like those are other platforms that other customers are on that you're still trying to capture and you're still trying to get your brand in front of. So that was really the intention, was to kind of expand the brand on all of the platforms. But I also think like how it's amazing what you can do with one piece of content. Shout out to Ian for the comment. But it's amazing what you can do with one piece of content, right? I've talked about this before, but like a deal walks into our shop that's like a 2-row box and it's all value cards. It's like $5 to $50. It's amazing what you can do with that one lot you buy. So let's say the lot's $200. Well, I can take that $200 lot and I can lay all the cards out in a big group and I can post a picture and I can post it on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, right? And then I can record myself flipping through all of those cards in an entire 2-row box and post that video on TikTok, Instagram Reels, and YouTube Shorts in under 60 seconds, right? So in one $200 lot, I'm on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. In a matter of 30 minutes, you can be anywhere to anyone with one piece of content. Now imagine doing that at scale multiple times a week, right? It adds up very quickly, and then you all of a sudden have lots more.
The wheels are turning.
Yeah, you just have a lot more content, and you're getting out there, and you're putting your brand in the face of people who are looking for sports cards.
That's all right, Ryan. Take off your mask. I know it's Gary V under there, but when you mention that, I go, hold on a second. You own a card shop. You've been in cards since 2013. A lot of other people have been in cards for 10, 20, 30 years that don't have this. I'd say your youth and your open-mindedness and understanding the power of social media and technology has really propelled you, because you started way before this and it just got amplified, like gasoline being poured on a fire pre-COVID and up until now. I was going to ask, like, what's the end-all goal, or at least what's the next big goal you have? Maybe 2 years or 5 years as this continues to build bigger opportunities, maybe more locations, or is it like a TV show, or is it just like, what's it going towards?
Yeah, like this will sound like so crazy, but this is the goal. Like I don't strive to have 10 card shops. I don't strive to, buy 50 card stores in California and live in a mansion. This is what I want to do every day, all day. And take the people that are with us and helping us do it now. Like I want them to be a part of it. Like I say that a lot, that like take care of the people that like helped to get you there. But like this is the goal. Like every day, getting to travel the country and go to shows and make content and document. Right. That's the coolest part about this. Is that was when I first started really like taking serious on like YouTube. Was like back in 2019 when I went to the National. And I hired my buddy Var to like film. I'm like, I've been in the National for that was my 10th year in a row going to the National, 10 years. And the first time I ever went to the card show, first time I ever went to the National, I borrowed $300 from my grandma in 2009. Borrowed $300.
Mm-hmm. How many Jordan PSA 10s did that buy?
None. It did not buy any, but I borrowed $300, right? And a couple, 10 years later, I took a lot more money, right? That wasn't like the point of it. It was like, how did I go from this small, like $300, enjoying it, ripping one box, picking up a couple $5 cards, to building this, sports card. I call it a sports card empire. That's what we're trying to build, right? We're trying to build one of the biggest sports card businesses there are. So like, how did we get from here to here? Well, I don't have any documentation of that, no video content other than like the post we made on Instagram. And that's really, I deleted my first couple of years as I was like trying to like keep it organized. So I don't really have even the first couple of years on Instagram. So to be able to document so much of this lately, I think it'll be fun to look back 10, 15, 25 years from now and be like, man, I remember when we did that. I remember when we did that. So that's been the best part about it, is just being able to build every day with people that I enjoy working with, and, just working to keep doing this. I don't, like I said, someone said buy Fanatics or, something like that. This is every day is like what we're doing now has been the goal. And I really haven't thought much outside of that.
Well, the one thing you did mention is you want to build a sports card empire, but a lot of people don't have the ambition or desire to even scale bigger, because the bigger you get, the more you get stretched, the more you're getting pulled in different directions. It's not like things are easier. Like, money might be coming in, but the challenges and the hurdles just change, and they become bigger hurdles, bigger challenges. So why even grow bigger? Or, I mean, because some people are content with keeping it the same size, but it seems like everything you're doing, you want to chase the bigger or next opportunity. So is there something like just ingrained in you that way, where you're like, let's just see how big this can go? Or is there something else?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely curious, like how big you can get it. But it's also like, it's kind of like, pushing ourselves, right? Like, what are we capable of? Just not doing the same monotonous thing every single day. That's why I left the corporate world. It's just monotonous, right? It's every day doing the same exact thing. That's what's so fun about this, is it's just every day is different. You walk in and there's so many different things we can do every day. So yeah, I mean, at this point, it's just to, try to spice it up, see what we can do, see how big we can get. There's a lot that goes into it, but no one real thing in particular. Just just trying to like push ourselves.
Well, yeah, go for it, Dustin.
I was going to go off topic for a second. We can come back to it, but go ahead, Brad.
The one thing I was going to say is, like, is there an idea or like a goal you guys are working on now? Is there like, hey, it'd be cool as if we did this, and maybe it's coming up in the next couple months, it's something radically different, or it's just a concept. Even if you don't want to share it because you want to keep it under wraps, are there like certain things that you're like, okay, Q1 of next year, we're going to do this, and it's going to change the hobby, or it's going to change our brand, or we don't know how it's going to pan out, but we really want to experiment with it?
Yeah, have them tell them all the secrets, Brad.
Tell me all your secrets. There's only 153 other people that will know it, and then share it with other.
Yeah. I'll give you a couple. So yeah, there's definitely things we're working on, right? Like, I've definitely kept a lot more things closer to the vest as we've gotten bigger. Try to announce things closer when they happen. But one of the things we have every intention to do in the next 6 months is to run a large card show. For sure, have every intention to do it. We've had a lot of conversations in the last 6 months about it. You'd be amazed at like what goes into it, like the little nuances that you would have I had no idea. I'm like, what would ever go into it? But yeah, trying to put on something like that. So that is definitely one of the things in the next 4 to 5 months we're trying to do is to put on a pretty big size card show. Okay,
nice.
Would that be, can I ask, would that be local to Ohio or possibly in a different location?
It would definitely be an Ohio card show. But the intention would be like to bring collectors and dealers all over the country to it.
I mean, are we talking about like
Dayton? So yeah, I'll come. If it just put it in Dayton, I'll be
there.
Well,
are you talking about like Dallas card show size is in something? Because there's a lot of, like, here in LA, we have 2 per weekend. It's insane, but they're all medium sized. There's not like this massive one. I think in Long Beach, there's a big one that LA Collection, if you're there. I actually haven't gone to it yet, but I think that's one of the bigger ones because it's not very frequent. It's once every couple months. So are you thinking like, what can we do once a quarter? Or is this like we start small, see how it goes, build over the next couple of months and year? Go big or go home? No risk it, no biscuit?
Yeah.
It's like, no, it's going to go to the it's going to be competing with the national.
No, please. I'm not. I don't want to go down that road.
That's not. Introduces the national too.
That's not what I'm trying to do. Yeah. The intention is just to start it at like a 400 table show.
Why not 4,000?
What? Yeah, no, not right away. Maybe at some point in the future, but yeah, the intention is to. I mean, that would be the goal. Is like a 400 person show. But yeah, just a lot goes into it. So we'll see how it develops. Maybe it doesn't turn into that. Maybe it turns into a 50-person show. But the intention would definitely be to get it to about 400 tables.
I think that your trade night at the National is about 400 tables. Yeah, I mean, like that was my first National, and I mean, I saw you like walking in. I gave you like a dap, like say hello, but. That was incredible. I mean, like that trade night, and I saw there's a lot of people in the chat that were there too. And that was, I mean, honestly, like if that was the only experience I had at this show, that would have been just worth the trip. I mean, it was really
awesome.
Good. It was really fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. The trade night's great. It's something I remember when Jimmy like created it and really came up with the idea, the concept back in Atlantic City, and it's crazy to see what it's turned into because it just becomes such a staple at the National for so many people, and it will only continue to get bigger and bigger and bigger, especially as we continue to do this. I have high expectations for the next year.
Awesome. And yeah, Bradley Helston asks, he says, I really enjoyed your video of the kids trade night. Do you see cards getting too expensive for kids? And that's a legit concern that all of us have thought about because most of us got in when we were kids and either we stayed in it the whole time or we returned to it. What are your thoughts there? And do you think anything can be done to help kids get started at a young age before they're 17, 18 years old?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think there's things that can be done for sure. I think that's one of the, more overlooked things in the hobby right now is kids. Like that's who this gets passed on to, right? Like if you don't have somebody to pass it on to, it just eventually goes away. So if, we don't have kids in it and there's no access point for them to get in, it's just who are we passing cards on to? So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things you can do. Like I think it really starts with like the local touch point, the card shop, right? I think that's really where a lot of this has to start. I've been to a lot of card stores. Sorry. I've dropped my wedding ring, play with it. I've been to a lot of card stores, right? I own a card store. There's a lot of card stores that have a lot of cards they're not doing a lot with, right? A lot of them. I've been to a lot of card stores that are cluttered and have stuff everywhere. And there's a lot of people that break a lot of boxes. Think how much product comes out now. There's a ton of product, tons of product. A lot of people rip a bunch of stuff and don't want it. And if like we can give that to kids, right? Rookies, inserts, base, numbered. There's all sorts of different stuff we can give to them. And that gets them an entry point in there, right? Then they trade with their friends and they learn about what's hot, what's not, right? In addition to supplemental content like, the three of us, or like there's so much content out there, but learning about the hobby, right? And educating the next generation is important, right? Like that's why I talk so much in some of my videos about like $1 boxes or $5 boxes, right? Because like, while I've bought in a $50,000 card before, I didn't always buy that kind of stuff. That's not where it starts, right? You go through dollar boxes and hustle and turn 20 into 40. And you do that enough times over time. Eventually, right? It pays off. Yeah. So like some kids have nice cards, right? Like some kids got great cards and are way ahead of the game. But a lot of like 10, 11, 12-year-olds don't have that stuff. Like it's not the average kid that has nice stuff. I don't believe. I think the average kid is like how a lot of us started, right? Like sorting and trading inserts and dollar cards and $5 cards. Like that's really where a lot of them start.
But it seems like the access to singles has never been stronger. I mean, whether you're trying, if you're a 12-year-old, like eBay, StarStock, card shows, card shops, I mean, like Yeah, maybe you can't get a box of Prism, but you can get singles all day, every day. And like you said, Ryan, like in the dollar box, you can get numbered cards, parallels. Like it's not like it's just like crappy base stuff that's in like the $1 to $5 box. It's like, decent stuff. So
Yep.
And the other thing too, I think it's a big point, is that a lot of the big cards are fun to watch and very like aspirational, because we're looking at the $30,000 card, 50,000, and then because of that, it's like the whole Instagram effect in life, right? We're
Sure.
looking at the perfect picture. We're looking at the 1% that has these big toys, these wonderful vacations and fancy cars and whatever. And we were like, well, why not me? Or like, and it could be good in a way, like, hey, if they can do it, I can do it. But then you could take it on the flip side, which is I feel insecure and feel bad about myself because I can only afford a $5 card or whatever, a $20,000 car or $10,000 car versus this Lamborghini. And you, for one, you don't even know if they own it. You don't know what their situation is. You don't know if they're miserable or depressed or whatever.
Yeah.
But
Keep it up with the Joneses.
Yeah, the Joneses, and there's like the Joneses with cards as well, where I go to Burbank and I like rummaging through the $2 bin, or it's like a random. I remember buying a Rob Gronkowski mosaic pink, and it was $2 on there, and it was just through the Rob Gronkowski pile. But I'm like, hey, I like this card. It's $2. Sure, I'll buy it. I don't really care to attach my self-worth to a card or any possession. And I feel like a lot of kids, I mean, really society, but kids especially, could fall into that trap of, well, I got to get that better card. I needed that Zion Williamson PSA 10 because that was like the standard card to have last year. And now I'm going to need, the Tyler Hero Silver or, whatever card it is. And I think it's more just like, that's just a bad habit of society and something that we got to address. But I hope kids are learning that it's cool to get in at $1 or $2 and it's still fun. And if you want to keep it there, you keep it there. If you want to scale up over time, you're welcome to do that. But not really like this inferiority complex of you're only dabbling in $2, $3 cards, because I honestly find that way more fun in a lot of cases.
Yeah, I don't disagree, right? I mean, I flew to Chantilly last Friday in Virginia and was there for one day, 10:30 a.m. flight, 10:30 p.m. flight home, and spent 6 of the 7 hours there going through value boxes, right? Buying a deal for $200 with a pile of stuff, this big, just filled with $1 cards, $5 cards, right? Like that I enjoy that the most, right? Like we've got 12 employees where we've got our hand in all these different things. We're doing a lot of cool stuff. I would much rather spend my Saturday morning going through a $5 box than anything else. It's what I want to do. Like that is what is fun about it. Finding a card for $5 and turning that into 10. That's how I was able to build so much and progress, right? And like you said, Brad, not everybody wants to do that, right? Some people just want to buy a couple cards and enjoy it. And that, like I said, that may be the case. I wanted to do it a little differently. I wanted to turn 5 into 10 a lot of times. But yeah, that, like I said, that's where I think there's another part of this, like the content piece of this, where we can educate the next generation, teach them things like the downside of razzing or group breaks and like what it means to lose money like that, right? Like I can tell you, I know this is a little one off topic, but like I know people that are younger, much younger than me, that have had serious addictions to like gambling. Right? There are real consequences of this. This isn't just like make-believe money. We talk about that a lot on Card Talk. Like, I think sometimes we become numb to the value of cards. Like Justin Herbert auto for $1,000. Do you know what my mother would say if I told her that I spent $1,000 on a football card? Like that's a lot of money to the average American. A lot of money on one card.
Of an unproven player that
sure
could be like good for 2 years so it's not even like I don't know. I mean, like to me, I can't even touch the new stuff just because the value is it's so high risk. It's so high risk versus, well, $1,000 actually gets you like a Charles Barkley PSA 9. I'm like, all right, but yeah, it's just. Well, I think that goes back to like the content that is most popular in a lot of cases is the high ticket stuff, or the breaks, or like. Entering a break and getting a $3,000 card is basically like showing the lottery ticket winner. You paid to enter the lottery and you had the scratch off, and your scratch off is good for a $3,000 cash prize. Well, that's what's going to be shown because that is the reward. That is the payoff. But we have to fill in the full story, which is, okay, now how many people had to enter and what are the odds and that kind of stuff to be responsible gamblers. You know, like gambling's fine in my book as long as you're doing it responsibly. But again, just like anything else, it could turn into an addiction. I know you really want to take that ring off. You just want to throw it in the corner of the room.
I have a hard time sitting still, so I'm fidgeting with some.
Your wife's getting nervous. She's like, "What's going on over there?" You know, like, no, yeah.
You better have a tan line on that finger, man. You're in trouble.
These are like high-end lottery tickets. Like a lot of it is, you know, I think there is, you know, something to that with the whole breaking thing. When did the breaking thing become big, Ryan? Because I mean, like I said, I got back in like early 2018 and I wasn't entrenched in YouTube at that point to really, I don't know if they were doing breaks on YouTube at that point, but like, when did that really get going? Breaks.
I mean, I think like the YouTube breaking's been around for a while. Like I remember growing up watching like Firehand break. And they're still breaking down. They're a huge breaker. So breaking's definitely been around for a while. Like I remember getting into Instagram breaking when it like started to get more outside of YouTube / Breakers TV. That started, I remember that more hardcore in like 2016 to early 2017. That's when I really remember it. I was doing a lot more breaking in 2017 with Mahomes his rookie year. Wish I would have just kept all that stuff for a rainy day. But that's when I really remember it taking off. And then the market was starting to uptick a little bit. Luka gets hot, Trey, right? You start upticking with the big 2018 class with Allen, Darnold, Baker, Lamar, Rosen, Barkley, that class. So then it starts, you know, upticking. And then COVID happens. You got nowhere to go, nothing to do, and you're getting paid by the government to be at home. You're going to spend it on sports cards. And that's when, like, hey, instant breaks. And that's when it really, really took off. Like March of last year is when I remember it just being like crazy.
Yeah. What do you think? I mean, we've been living in a world where PSA has been such a huge factor for the last few years as far as hobby growth goes. And they've been really closed down for the most part. Do you, and I kind of speculated this on a video where now, not to say obviously like who knows what's going to happen with prices, but I'm talking more about just hobby interests. Like if PSA is back open again to where maybe there's a $75 option, you know, or something to where people can actually sub again and kind of get that going again. How do you see that going kind of, and I assume that's going to be in 2022 when we really see an uptick with them. You know, just because that was kind of a big part of what people had been doing the last few years, kind of buying raw, grading, selling.
It's just funny you say like PSA gets down to a reasonable price, and that price is $75 a card.
Yeah.
When a year ago it was like 12.
Yeah.
Crazy to think what we think is reasonable now for grading a card. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are grading cards now at the 150 option, and they were grading a lot of cards when it was still, you know, 300 plus an option. I think that will definitely bring more business to them at $75. It'll just be interesting to see how low they ever go. I don't anticipate it being much lower than that. Maybe a $50 option. I just think you would really open the floodgates if you ever went down to some, you know, $15, $25, $50, you know, $40 option. I think 75 is probably where it's gonna end up being. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see, because I think it's an interesting part of the hobby now is what would people do if they could send in that kind of stuff again for a cheaper price. Yeah, I haven't thought a whole lot about it. It would be intriguing to see, but I'm not super optimistic it's going to happen super, super soon.
Yeah.
I mean, we have this conversation.
Brad, check out Hobby. Before you say that, hold that thought, but Hobby Champ's comment at 952 is an all-timer. That I don't know. I don't know where he pulled that out of, but just like
I don't even know what Bjorn is.
Oh, it's a brand. I think.
Oh, okay.
About. Yeah. Okay.
Dude,
anyway,
yeah.
Sorry, I got distracted. Go ahead.
Totally off topic. If you don't know what People of Walmart is, you got to just Google it and go to the website. It's hilarious. It basically explains itself in the title. Well, see, look, with grading, that's where the philosophy comes in, where it's like, well, what do you do with a $20 card right now? Where 150 is not even in the ballpark. Or what do you do with like a $30 raw card or a $50 raw card right now? And that was even one of the strategies I talked about with Coleman, where he's like, dude, I've been stockpiling all these raw cards, and as they open different tiers of grading, then I could send them in. So at $100, there's a stack that is worth grading at 100 because you do the math and you realize, okay, at a 10, it's going to be gravy. At a 9, it'll still be worth it. As long as it's not an 8 or below, I should be fine. And then there's a stack of cards that at $60 or $50, it's going to be worth it. And then there's going to be cards that at $15 or $20 are going to be worth it. So that's where, like, it feels like the flow is stuck, because where the flow is like not going, because you don't have anything to do with these $25 cards. You have to just hold them raw and either get rid of them raw or just wait. And I don't know. And if PSA doesn't open a service that is reasonable for these lower end cards, then someone else is going to have to offer it. And then maybe they become the go-to grader for these sub $50 cards. I don't know. Have you thought about that at all, Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, like I send stuff now that's like under, anywhere from like 20 to $150 to like, I send a lot of stuff into SGC.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Yeah. Because what is it? 28, $30?
Yeah, like right around $30 a card. I think the big thing is like SGC requires a little bit of like looking. Like in the past, like when we were sending stuff into PSA at $10 a card, when it was like a $3 card, you'd get a PSA 9 back and it would sell for 30. So, you're sending 10, spending 3 plus shipping. So you got 15 in, you're getting $20 after fees. So you're making something. I think people are sending a lot of stuff to SGC just because they want to grade stuff. And if you look on eBay, not every SGC card sells super well. Like look up Camavinga, Topps Chrome Stadium Club SGC 10. The last sale was $28, right? So I think people need to do a little bit more research on the cards they're sending into that stuff. But SGC is a play on a lot of cards now. Again, I don't know if that lasts or what that looks like when PSA comes around. If PSA brings back a $20 option, I saw someone mention that was something Nat mentioned. I had not heard that. But if PSA brings a $20 option, I think that's
yeah. Well, I mean, if they have a $20 option without delays and it's a very thought through system that's actually on point and the dates are going to be accurate, I don't see room for really other grading companies, especially based on how easy it is to sell PSA graded cards. Because I've had some BGS, some Beckett's BGSs that are tough to sell. I've had SGCs that are tough to sell, and then the PSAs just fly. And it's just kind of like this. It's not that it's better. It's just, it's like more of this unspoken rule of like, yes, we accept it. I don't know what it is. It's just kind of like, yes, we accept it. And until something changes where more people can really feel confident buying a card, knowing that if they would like to sell it, they'll be able to move it. I just don't really see.
Yeah, but I think the one thing you can't get on that is time, right? Because for the one plate for people to trust SGC as a brand, right? Beckett's had the luxury of being around a while. SGC's been around for vintage for a while, but like SGC, HGA, CSG, if these other companies are going to last, like the one way to find out if they're going to last is time, right? A year from now, if PSA does have an option again, are people still wanting to buy anything SGC that's modern, anything CSG, anything HGA? We'll see. Like I said, I think there are plays right now. If you do your research, you can definitely find things to send into SGC. I send in cards every, couple weeks personally. So I think there's plays. But I don't think it's quite as easy as it used to be when PSA was in their heyday at the $8 to $15 a card, send it in, get it back in 5 months, and double your money on every single thing you send in, no matter what it is. Like you're printing money when that was around. Like I said, I'm also not optimistic that's coming back right away, that $15 to $20 option. But it would definitely be an interesting addition to the hobby. If could you imagine right now if PSA is like, yep, $20 a card, we'll have it back in 5 months or less, guaranteed. Mania.
Yeah, it would be 50 million cards.
Mania.
I would be investing in PSA stock. I still need to look at PSA stock. I'd be like, I think that'll just be my play.
I'll be right back, guys.
Okay. Hey, you have to pee. Awesome. So usually I have to pee about 20 minutes in. So I'm glad that it's either Dustin's getting a snack, which is definitely a high probability, or he's using the restroom. I'll hide him for now. The other thing that I thought of is that, remember, PSA got so many more so much more office space and so many more employees that I'm thinking when they get caught up, are they just going to have to downsize very quickly, or do they have to bring on a reasonable grading tier in order to keep the staff and maybe downsize at a reasonable pace? Because if this just disappears and it goes from all 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s to just new product, then they might have to downsize 50% very quickly. And maybe they're willing to do it. Or maybe it's like, hold on, what's going to be that price point? Can we do a $25 a card option where we can keep the staff and be profitable and then maybe downsize as the quantities go down? I don't know. That was more of my thought just because they expanded so rapidly.
Yeah, right. I definitely sounds like a complicated issue. I believe Nat Turner and the guys that acquired it are pretty intelligent. I have a good feeling they'll figure it out. I'm glad I don't have to figure it out, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens.
What say you, Dustin? Okay, never mind. All right, well, look, we're gonna have you. I know it's 7:00 right now here on the west side. I might not have you back on until next year based on your schedule. I'd love to have you back on, but in case you can't, I want to get some bold predictions for next year. I want to say, like, who's going to win the Super Bowl, who's going to win NBA championship, maybe if you have a baseball favorite as well coming up with the World Series, and then also in the card space. But let's start with baseball. Who's going to win the World Series?
I have not heard many people tell me the Braves are going to win. Everybody says the Astros. Lou this morning predicted the Astros. I'm going to go out on a limb and say the Braves. I want the Braves to win really bad. Not a big Astros guy, so I'm going to go with the Atlanta Braves.
Awesome. And I'm not going to ask Dustin because we could talk about that another time. What about NFL? Who's winning the Super Bowl?
I originally said it would be the Browns over the Rams in the Super Bowl. I'm not sure the Browns are getting there. So I'm gonna say the Rams. I like Stafford a lot. Stafford to Cup's dangerous. Aaron Donald, I think, is the best defensive player in the league. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Rams.
Who they beating?
At this point, if I get a pick right now, man, the Bills.
Okay,
Yeah,
that'll be a great Super Bowl. How bad will the Saints be? Because that's Dustin's team. How many picks is Jameis Winston throwing this year? Over, under 30?
Under.
Under.
It'll be close.
He's doing great. Yeah, he's got to throw a lot now to catch up to 30.
There you go. He has to actually throw the ball. He's like, every game, he's like 10 completions for 21 attempts, 136 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick.
Hey, defense wins championships.
Yeah, well, he should just kneel the ball down and wait for the defense to pick sixes.
Just punt, first down, just punt it.
Okay, you're not a hockey guy though, right? You don't really care about hockey.
Oh, I actually go to a lot of hockey games. The Blue Jackets are right down the road.
Oh, I don't know how they're doing this year. Are they a champ?
Well, no.
Okay. Well, they destroyed my Lightning before my Lightning went on a ridiculous tear. That was very heartbreaking, very surprising. Yes. Who's winning the Stanley Cup? Stanley Cup.
I don't know enough about like hockey, like who's going to be really, really good, who's going to be really, really bad. I typically root for the GOATs in sports I don't follow as much, so I would hope. I know the Penguins won big the other day. Penguins could be good. I'm going to say the Capitals. I like Ovechkin. I hope the Capitals win, so I'll go Capitals.
Awesome. And then moving on to NBA real quick. Who's winning the championship?
I picked, man, I don't remember who I picked in card talk. I think I picked the Warriors. Steph Curry is amazing. I think I picked the Warriors over the Heat is what I think I picked in card talk. We picked bold predictions on there. So it's not your Bucks Lakers or Lakers Nets or your chalk pick per se, but I think the Heat are good. I like Hero, Butler, Bam. They've got some depth, and I think once the Warriors get Clay back, they're already. I mean, Steph Curry makes teams a contender, but yeah, I'm going Warriors over the Heat.
I feel bad for you just sitting there, Dustin. What do you think of that pick?
I like the Warriors too. I think that it's the same team that won championships previously. They just have to get healthy. They're a little bit older, but they do the same things. Outside of them, I'm going to say Alex Caruso's Bulls. We're going to make some noise in the playoffs. Sleeper pick, ultimate sleeper. I like Levine. I like that team. So we'll see. I don't know.
Real quick, got to shout out Troy, who dropped 20 Canadian dollars on the super chat. Appreciate you, Troy. You're
awesome.
always in the house supporting us. So awesome to have you do that. And so into the card space, though, because I think this is really where you can touch on a bold prediction or something that you'd like to see in the hobby in 2022. And again, this is premature only if we don't have you back on before because of scheduling. But give me a bold prediction, whether it's a merger, whether it's just a platform, whether it's something that we're like, wow, that shook up the hobby. What would you either like to see or what do you actually see happening next year?
Like to see, I would love to see, so we'll do a like to see and what I think will happen. I would like to see Fanatics by Upper Deck. The ability to have LeBron and Jordan autos again, bring back some of the original guys that, Carvin did exquisite, some of the Cup, working back for Upper Deck. Would love to see him come back and do some modern day sets if Fanatics acquired Upper Deck and was able to bring back basketball. LeBron, Jordan, dual autos, just bringing that kind of stuff back to cards, what that could mean.
Just seeing just pulling a Michael Jordan card would be amazing. I mean, it's kind of crazy. Like you're talking about the greatest ever, and we can't even talk about his cards unless it's like what 2000 and what's the latest year? Like 2006, 8, I don't know, something like that.
Yes, I mean Upper Deck stopped making like basketball products in 14-15, right?
Okay.
So 14, they've got like 14-15 Letterman basketball, and they've got like SP Authentic 13-14, I think 14-15. But that's in a Carolina jersey. I mean, those last Jordan Bulls jersey, I think's 08-09.
Oh, that's a shame. Like that needs
right
to
around there.
If anyone from Fanatics is listening, go out there and please buy Upper Deck. And then I got to just pull this up from Grumpy Card Guy. Did you hear about anything regarding Panini buying UFC and wrestling licenses from Topps? I haven't heard anything like that.
So Panini signed an exclusive deal this morning for WWE. So that sounds like they pulled that from Topps.
You said Panini?
Yeah, signed an exclusive trading card deal with WWE.
Okay, awesome. So I mean, I don't know if Fanatics has the power to then buy Panini or then to buy or again, a lot can happen in the next couple of years. So maybe they merge, they buy, they decide they want it all. Got to give Dexflow a shout out. For one, that's a sweet tattoo. Second of all, very true words right there. Definitely one of the goats in the hobby. Humble too, very insightful.
Appreciate it.
And I need to have you on for the next 4 hours just so I can keep racking up this super chat money right here. This is sweet. But anyway, the bold prediction. Did you go with the bold prediction or just what you'd like?
Yeah. So like what I would like to see happen is that bold prediction. I think you're going to see some stuff. Like I know he's got an announcement coming soon. I'm going to be curious to see what's going to happen with Ken Golden. He's a guy I like watching the hobby. I think he's doing some big things. I think he brings a lot of attention to the card space. So I think we're going to see some big stuff out of Ken Golden coming up here soon. That's going to be one of my bold predictions is you're going to see some big stuff coming from Ken Golden. Like I said, I think he brings a lot of good attention to the space, and I think he's continuing to do that. So that would be my bold prediction is something big from Ken. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's buying a company. I don't know if it's bringing an athlete on. I don't know, but Ken's a smart dude. So I think it'll be something big from Ken.
I was going to say he's going to be featured in that TV show.
Yeah.
PSA. Was it PSA that bought into Golden? Was that correct, Dustin? Do you know?
Collectors Universe did.
Collectors Universe bought it. And he's been in business so long, and he is a businessman. He has his hands in a lot of things, kind of like the way I see with you, Ryan, where it's like you see opportunity, and it's whether on social media or collaborations or different ways to generate revenue and be a bigger part of the hobby. I see like Ken Golden, always his name being mentioned, always every opportunity he is there. He's very visible, and he's definitely one of the biggest representatives of the hobby. So it'll be curious to see what that show will bring, but I could totally see even bigger things next year, even outside of that. But dude, I want to get you out of here because I know it's 10 o'clock on your side of the world, on your side of the country, and you got a busy day ahead of you. I know that for sure, just because every day is busy for you. But I just want to thank you for joining me and joining Dustin tonight. This was really insightful. I know everyone in the comment section and the audience loved it as well. So we really appreciate you, man.
Yeah, I really appreciate you guys having me. This is fun. I hadn't done one of these in a minute, so this was great. Shout out to both of you guys. If you guys are watching, make sure you hit the thumbs up button for sure. Tag us on IG. We'll be sure to repost us. If you guys found any part of this interview helpful or enjoyable, tag us on IG. We'll get those reposted. But make sure you guys leave a thumbs up.
Yeah, you already know the outro. That's perfect. Dustin never does that.
Yeah,
Dustin's like, all right, see ya.
I'm way behind on the social media game. I just took notes when Ryan was talking about like what are reels? What are IG reels? I've got so much work to do tonight.
Ryan, if you could just create a position and then hire Dustin, that would be great. I think that would just solve a lot of problems.
I'll work on that.
If anyone is here that is not already following Ryan, it's Card Collector 2 on Instagram. He has a huge YouTube channel as well. Very well done. Any other specific links or places to find you that you'd like to shout out?
No, that's good.
Okay, there it is, guys. Well, appreciate it. Now I finally have to pee. I think someone congratulated me for not having to do it earlier. So I'm going to get that done. And guys, I will see you guys next week.
See you guys.
All right. See ya.